Okay, so my presentation is on my bike. I'm a part of a bike team from Mission because I do triathlons, but anyway, it's better to train with people. So this is my team. They're a bunch of guys, probably 30 plus, and they absolutely love me, and so they actually bought me this bike for my race in New Zealand. So just a little bit about Scott Bikes. Ed Scott was the founder of it in 1958, and they did skiing. So they still, even now, they do snow sports. Then in '86, then they started making mountain bikes. And then through that, then they've done road bikes and triathlon bikes or time trial bikes. And then now they have their own running shoes. So now the main part of my presentation is to talk about the technology of the bike. And so for Scott Foil, there are three major things that cyclists want out of a bike. So one is stiffness, and one is weight, and the other is aerodynamics. And what they have here, this diagram, is theirs. And the foil sits right there in the middle as having optimal amounts of those three things for the perfect bike. So first, we'll talk about stiffness. So a stiff bike. The pros to having a stiff bike is that the power transfer from a cyclist, from their body to the bike to move forward off the road, is more efficient when you have a rigid bike or a stiff bike. A con to this, of course, is because it's so stiff, your body transfer to the bike is really efficient, but so is the road then up to your body. So it could be an uncomfortable ride. Not a lot of shock absorption. Okay, so on the bike, to make it more stiff or rigid, they have made this tapered head tube, which means that there's not pieces connecting. So there's not space in between connecting parts. It's one whole piece, which then there's not space for compression or shifting, which helps the rigidity. So now we're going to talk about weight of a bike. Now, why do we want a light bike? There's a study done where for an average 160-pound cyclist up a 20-kilometer hill that's 7% grade, for every added 5 pounds would add 30 seconds to the total time that would take that climb. So weight then for cyclists is very important. And a lighter weight, whether it's the bike frame or the person, obviously increases efficiency. How does Scott do it? There's two things. IMP carbon technology, which how they make it, there's a picture here. So they have metal capsules, and then they molds, and then they put the carbon in. Anyway, how they've done it, they've been able to eliminate 11% of material by having a hollow frame and carbon. Then the other part is the net finish. So if you look at the bike, you'd be able to see that it has a matte finish, where most bikes have a glossy paint finish. But by doing this naked external tube set finish, they've eliminated a few grams of weight from the common carbon layer that's encasing the bike. So now we're going to talk a little bit about aerodynamics, which is what this foil, Scott Foil, is very excited about. Their aerodynamic bike, because most road bikes, aerodynamics isn't as important because you're usually drafting. But for me as a triathlete, in the races I do, they're non-draft legal. And so you want the most aerodynamic position to go faster. So here we talk about a little bit of why it's important for triathletes. Having a better body position will reduce wind drag, and also increase speed, also increases drag exponentially, and various things, battling the elements, wind, rain. So this is just a little picture of how their F01 aero technology came from airplanes. So they studied how wind shapes around airplanes to make them fly, but they had to tweak it, obviously, because cyclists can't move as fast as airplanes. So once they mastered that, then they created their most efficient bike tube. So now here they show this first tube is just a regular circle. That's what they started with, and it is the most lightweight, fairly stiff, but it's terrible aerodynamically. Now this other is the plasma tube, or a teardrop shape, is very aerodynamic, but again you can see not very stiff and fairly heavy. But now the F01 Aero technology is has the benefits of all the things, so they're very equally matched. So here's a video that's just going to show you how they test some of these things.
Wind tunnel testing is the key to confirm and prove the performance. We work together with Drag to Zero at the Mercedes-Benz Grand Prix wind tunnel. The drag of a classic round tube race bike represents 20% of the rider's output, 60 watts loss for 300 watt output. Our target was to reduce drag by 20%. Project F01 shows the best aerodynamic results out of 6 competitor spikes.
Any questions?